everyone. Where do I start? A lot has happened in a very short amount of time. So I will try to cover the events in a short amount of time myself. But keyword try. Alright, let's recap what has happened so far this week. First, the album covers all changed on Apple Music so that it appeared there were pieces of red duct tape over any eyes that appear in the original covers. Since there are no eyes on the blurry face cover, the tape instead appears over top the circle, which is attributed to Keon's. Next, 1,500 fans received red envelopes in the mail addressed by Dima. These envelopes contained a threatening letter from the bishops, a map of Dima that was modified to include Paladin Strait between Voldsoy and the mainland, and, in my opinion the most important of these things, a letter from Clancy, not to mention the handwritten question asking about Dima.org. Decoding the text from Clancy's letter reveals the message within, still alive. Along with that message, which some of us already knew about, appears a very important word, hope. Do you all remember what I've said about the word hope in the original Clancy journals? Let me refresh your memory. Or you can check out my first video, The Old Clancy is Dead. Here's the scoop. The word hope is used in all of Clancy's original letters except for the last one. However, the number of hopes quickly dwindles until it's transformed into hopeless after Clancy witnessed the events in the jumpsuit video. And then, as Clancy arrives back in Dima, the word hope disappeared from his entries entirely. Now, here we are again, counting up from 0 to get our one single hope. Hope paired with still alive. Now, if you don't know, my baseline theory is that Clancy has always been a representation of hope in the midst of darkness or depression. So, accordingly, the message that was sent states, hope is still alive, with the double meaning that Clancy is still alive. So, that's one part of the new stuff. Now let's talk about red tape. The first obvious connection is the line in the outside. I'll tape my eyes so I don't fall asleep again. This is pretty much left up to interpretation, but right now the possibilities are so vast, I admittedly don't have much I can say about it just yet. However, I don't know if the same is true for others, especially those younger than I am, but as soon as the words red tape came out of my mouth, I was understanding the common idiom, where red tape is used to describe bureaucracy and its redundant inefficiencies. One definition online of the phrase red tape describes it as meaning, quote, referring to regulations or conformity to formal rules or standards, which are claimed to be excessive, rigid, or redundant, end quote. Does that remind you of anything? Anywhere? Anyone? In my last video, I discussed the theory that Keon's was the embodiment of a sense of control, such as the control that comes from conformity to rules. We know that Dima definitely uses conformity, rules, and standards that are very much excessive and rigid to keep control over their citizens. In corporate bureaucracy, these redundant regulations lead to a lack of productivity because of the obstacles that are placed before any action can actually occur. A bureaucrat might slip into the constant process of going through endless, redundant paperwork and steps. Perhaps one could even say a bureaucrat could fall into an endless, dreary cycle. The words red tape are frequently used within a phrase, cutting red tape, which means what it sounds like, getting rid of obstacles to productivity. But in this case, the red tape isn't being cut or removed, it's being added. Perhaps the bishops are covering the eyes of the characters who are on the Bandito's side in order to add an obstacle to the advancement with any plans. But the bishops are weak. I don't know which way I'm going, but I can hear my way around. Blindness means nothing to the Banditos. Now, we have red tape covering up Keon's circle. I wonder if maybe this shows that since his murder, Keon's role as a bishop has been taken over by the use of red tape to maintain control over Dima in his absence. We also have red tape covering Trash's eyes, so this could be a clear representation of creativity being bogged down by red tape, aka the need for control and rigidity. This is likely something that Tyler himself has to deal with in his life and his career. It reminds me of someone that hasn't been talked about much at all in the last few years, Vitomo. Vitomo is the bishop whose name comes from the lyrics in Lane Boy. Lane Boy is literally about this exact subject. Stay in your lane. My creativity only flows when I'm playing shows, etc. You get the meaning of the song. If we are more specific, Vitomo comes from the lyrics Alive Tomorrow. Will they be alive tomorrow? These bureaucrats who try to control Tyler's creative process, the lyric is a question, but will they be alive tomorrow? Why would we be asking this question? Honestly, I haven't fully fleshed out all of these facts into a well-polished, put-together theory, but I figured it's interesting enough to share at this point. So, what are we thinking about all of this right now? What could be the consequences to the theories and facts I have discussed? Let me know in the comments.